Hello everyone, it's daytime. You can call me Buster, and welcome back to another Advance Wars Days of Ruin replay commentary right here on Tiny Wars. Today I have an interesting replay that was submitted to me by none other than MibsterBear, as he's known on the website. And it's going to be MibsterBear as green in the top right corner versus Benchwarmer, specifically Benchwarmer 2. I don't know what happened to the first one. Playing as red. In the red corner! You know, this is a wrestling match. Except that you probably wouldn't want to wrestle because they're both playing as an old man. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Lee mirror match. If you don't know Lee, he is a custom CO in Tiny Wars. He has a base zone radius of 3. Everything else is the default. Both boarding cost, expansion range is all normal, but his day-to-day is interesting. He has the usual 10% offense and defense, but all units inside of his CO zone get +1 movement. That's right, he's a movement CO. Now, that means they have to start inside of his CO zone. So, if this was the CO unit, for example, this recon right here, it would go 1, 2, 3, and then if there was something here, and it could move 3, let's say an infantry, it could go 1, 2, 3, 4. However, if this recon then moved out of the way before that moved, then it would no longer get the movement bonus because it's no longer in the CO zone. That's how that works. It's a little confusing if you haven't seen it, but you understand it when you see it. As for his superpower, it costs 60, gives him 10-10, plus 2 movement to all units, globally, across the map. So he's a little bit like Adder, and that's why I've gone ahead and changed his theme on the website to Adder's theme. So let's get started. As you can see, the map is very naval oriented, although there's beaches everywhere, so you're not going to be able to get a lot of ships through here. It's more about landers and gunboats, and that is what these two players are going to be doing. Also, these corner silos, you can't get to them. They're meaningless. Now, these airports are very far forward. Because of the gunboats and these factories right here, it makes it so that you can grab these airports, but they're actually a little bit contested, so you may see a little bit of that going on. These comm towers in the corners are pretty contested, as well as this island and this island right here. The recons are really only here to protect the HQ, that's why they're damaged and have no fuel, so that they can't go anywhere. I believe this was originally designed as a fog map, and that's why you would normally need something like a recon sitting in front of the HQ, but at current, this map is in the standard queue, which is one interesting thing about Days of Ruin, is that a lot of maps kind of work decently in both standard and fog. They're not always great for one or the other, but it is what it is. Anyway, both players, you see we have opened a Lee infantry, or the Lee infantry as I like to call it, and it just moved 1, 2, 3, 4 and began capturing this city. So making use of the movement here, as well as this infantry boarding on the HQ and then going 1, 2, 3, 4 to speed up some captures, and both players are making some usage out of Lee in the very beginning of the game. We already have some tanks coming out. However, we don't have any engagements just yet. Never mind, there's the first engagement right here. Now, Lee is considered more of a day-to-day CO. However, if you can get his power up, which is not too hard because he has 3 zone, he can be quite a menace on the turn that you activate. As for this, I don't understand exactly why Benchwarmer put this tank in range of a battlecopter just to interrupt the comm tower. Seems a little bit much to me. Although, green already has this tower in the bottom right corner, and red is going to get this tower now. So perhaps it was a good play, but now red is going to try to flip this tower. I don't think it's going to work. However, there are a couple of mechs, a battlecopter, and a tank. The airport being right here makes it very easy to flip this comm tower and hold on to it. Now we do see a nice wall forming for green up here, Mib is ahead currently on property count, but only just a little bit. Benchwarmer is ahead on unit count, and will be more ahead after building this turn. Now, I think I should probably slow down the replay just a little bit for my own sake. I'm going to go ahead and do that because I'm trying to follow along, and I haven't done this in a long time, in case you didn't know. This is my first replay commentary in quite a while, so if you like these, leave a like and let me know that you want me to keep doing these. That gives me lots of motivation to continue doing it. Lots of you in the Discord have already told me to keep doing these. Now look at this death ball right here. It's mostly infantry. That's true. However, there are 2 anti-airs, and there's a bunch of battlecopters here. So he's trying to ward off the battlecopters and stop Benchwarmer from taking this comm tower over. Meanwhile, Benchwarmer is over here attempting to take a city down here, and if he doesn't do something, Mib is going to lose this airport very soon. As you can see, it's very easy to lose these airports on this map, so you need to be very careful. You can lock them down with anti-air really quite easily, and because the closest factory is so far away, it can be very easy to flip these airports. Now, both, I almost said characters, both players have a big Lee death ball on each of these islands here. Very scary to go against. Let's pause for a moment here. Now, Red really wants to get this comm tower, but at this point, against this big a force with 2 anti-air, and there's really only battlecopters and a single tank to actually defend this, I don't know if Red is going to be able to keep this. Meanwhile, Green has completely, like, left this front to die. Like, he's even leaving the airport undefended. He didn't build a battlecopter or anything. So, obviously, Green is hoping to take this area over himself. And also, you can see with the low fuel gunboats here and here, both players are making very good usage of those. And Mib even went as far as to build a second gunboat, which is pretty nice. You can see they've been ferrying a lot of mechs around, especially Mib here has been ferrying lots of mechs with these gunboats, and that is one big strength that this map has. I mean, this factory right here, look, it's 1, 2, and there's a seaport right here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can just barely make it to this beach right here, so that you can drop off a mech wherever you shall please, and then head back, grab another mech from this base, and then head right back the next turn. So it's a very mech conga line allowing map. That was a very complicated sentence I just tried to say, but hopefully it made sense. Meanwhile, if we look at the property count, Benchwarmer is ahead by 2. He's going to be ahead by another 2 soon, once he flips this airport. He's also going to capture this city right here, but Green is going to flip this city, and I don't know, is Red going to get this? Probably. He's probably going to get this city. Let's see what Green is able to do down here. Attacks that, begins capturing the airport. Now the question is, will he choose to interrupt with a battlecopter? If he does, he can interrupt from this sea tile right here, which would force Green to move off of the airport so that the anti-air can move on and shoot the battlecopter. Otherwise, if he shoots from either of these tiles, then he can just join cap with one of these infantry, and then the anti-air can have free reign over here. Of course, there's also the option of simply allowing the opponent to capture this airport. You're already capturing your opponent's airport, so maybe you allow your opponent to hold on to it. Battlecopter is worth 9,000. This is worth 1,000 per turn. Are you going to be able to keep it for that long, and how much value is it going to actually generate you? Probably not enough to be worth sacking a battlecopter for, but we shall see. Now, all of these units, that final tank is beginning to fall in the southeastern corner of the map, and Green has just completely neglected the northern front here. Not neglected. Rather, I'd opt to say he has given it up, tactically, strategically. In exchange, he's throwing all of his units into this corner, trying to take over the opponent, and meanwhile keeping a little skeleton force of a few mechs and a medium tank to actually defend his headquarters. But now that he's taken over this area, all of these units are going to be clumping up in the center and taking on this death ball head on. So now we see Lee making some use of his movement here. Of course, you want to try to move the units that are inside of the CO zone first of all, before moving the actual CO unit. And then you'd like to move your CO units such that more units can get the benefit from the movement. It's very interesting. We've got a lander coming out here, 1 mech and 1 infantry. We'll see if that makes a huge difference later. We have a missile coming out. I missed that last turn. Yeah, there's a missile, which makes sense. He's missile locking the red airport right here, as you can see. I wouldn't be surprised if red actually does the same down here. Doesn't do it yet, if he's going to. That's really funny, though, missile locking the airport. As you know, in Days of Ruin, as you may know, missiles have been buffed. Instead of 3 to 5 range, they are 3 to 6 range, so from here you can actually shoot on the airport. It's probably pretty safe to move it onto this city right here just so that it can get resupplied every turn. But, you know, you don't want to get shot by any tanks and give any opportunities to build battlecopters here. So now it is MibsterBear's turn. He just goes by Mib on the Discord, okay? So I'm just going to keep saying Mib from here on. I'm confusing myself trying to say it both ways. Anyway, we've got some positioning going on here. Both players need to be very careful here. There's a lot of units here, and we do not want to be the one to take the first hit. There are 36 units per side on the field, plus more after this turn. This force over here is looking very scary to me. I'm wondering... Ooh, and the bomber comes out from Mib also. Ooh, big units coming out, ladies and gentlemen. And they're still only on 22 cities per side. The income is not really that high. Oh, hang on, what was that? Oh, that was... he deleted his recon. Okay. Not sure exactly why he did that. Maybe we will get to see that soon. Maybe he wants to prevent his opponent from using it to get charge? I'm not entirely sure why we... I'm like, you can always just keep it as a wall. Interesting. Maybe he wanted to just make room for this infantry wall right here. It would seem that way. At this point, I'd be building probably rockets and artillery and stuff like that. The bomber is funny, but there's lots of anti-air around. 2 war tanks coming out of that lander. This is what happens when I let the replay just go a little bit too quickly. Here's the missiles, by the way. He's going to missile lock, but it's too late. He already built a bomber and a battlecopter. It's too late! And now we have a battlecopter running out of fuel. Oh man, I can see now why this replay was shown to me. Also, by the way, the fact that this base can spam mechs into the gunboats, that's probably a good reason why both of these players decided to play as Lee, because when you can give extra movement to mechs, they become a lot stronger. That's one of the reasons why Will is considered to have a really strong power, because he gives his mechs 2 extra move. And that's just really strong, because it's usually easy to stay just out of range, but when they suddenly have 2 or 3 extra move, or 1 or 2 extra move, I'm sorry, then they can be kind of scary. You don't expect it, and you can just gain like 30 energy in a turn, pop your power. Ooh, we have an attack, ladies and gentlemen. The gunboat has taken a shot, and another infantry has taken a shot from inside of the CO zone. Finally, there's stuff happening. Oh, ooh, the walls are coming down, and this is pretty scary. There aren't any indirects to punish this. However, there are lots of tanks and war tanks and stuff. And there's a bomber on this side. What's gonna happen? Ooh, okay, what's in here? Another war tank, right, because it came from this factory right here. Ooh, the problem with war tanks usually is that they're really slow. They only move 4. Oh, sorry, they move 5. No, they don't. It's because it's inside of... Interesting, Tiny Wars. Is that a thing that you do? Hang on, this is inside of Lee's CO zone. Okay, yeah, it's telling me this particular unit, it has 5 movement. However, this... Yeah, okay. If I look at this one only has 4 movement. Interesting that it actually shows you that in the little status screen here. That's so cool. It actually updates the movement points, even. I wouldn't have expected that. Like, I know it shows the fuel and everything. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, they usually only move 4. But if you are Lee, then suddenly you can move 5. And the Lee CO infantry does go down. So, this counterattack is pretty huge for Benchwarmer. Oh, this is disgusting. Oh, he's losing so many units. Will he be able to counterattack this? There's still a lot of stuff here. There is still a lot of stuff here that he can shoot. He didn't get to the bomber. There's still a battlecopter right here that's going to crash in like a few turns if he doesn't refuel it. But that's okay, as long as he can get the money out of it. And now he takes his opportunity to load Lee into this medium tank. With the veteran boost and the CO zone and the HQ, it has 75 defense, and suddenly, all of a sudden, all in the space of a singular turn, because these two walls are crashing into each other, he is able... Okay, let me actually go back to the start of this turn. Let's pay attention to how much energy he's able to gain. He starts at 0. Loads. 2 energy, 9 energy, 10 energy, 18, 27, 33, 35, 42, 51, 56, 60, and superpower. And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't believe that's allowed this CO snipe to happen. However, he does get a nice luck roll, as we can see here. That's not what I want. I can do this. So you can see it's 97 out of 100, which means there is a... It's 97 to 105. That's the luck roll that can happen here. Luckily for him, he did get the luck roll and one-shotted. He also was able to kill that gunboat during that last interaction. So, yeah, it's a little crazy. I mean, this lander is already here. It has a war tank inside of it. This other war tank is going to go inside of it, and then... I don't know. This is a pretty killer push. 32 units to 35. The unit value is... Am I seeing that correctly? It's like 30,000. There's a discrepancy of 30,000 funds. No, it's 25,000. Sorry, my quick math is not very good. I'm not very good at this game either because of it, but I'm okay. I'm okay. You know, we're all just as good as we can get, and Benchwarmer understandably decides to resign the game. Man, look at this. So many units just clumped in the center. They're all weaved in and out of each other. This is absolute chaos, ladies and gentlemen. Both players with a missile lock on the opposing airports. It's just really funny to me. Wow. Look at this. Absolutely crazy. Now, I'm a little bit surprised that neither of these players saw this big stalemate situation happening and decided to build rockets or artillery. Like, I don't see a single indirect here aside from these missiles that are locking the airports. That's quite interesting. I mean, this is Lee. You want to move forward. He's more of a... I don't want to say he's an aggressive CO because he doesn't have very much attack power. He's just got the default 10-10. But he does move quickly. Most of the time players use him to speed up the capture phase. A lot of maps have cities that are 4 tiles apart, like this here, 1, 2, 3, 4, which of course you can still use a bike for that. But if you have an infantry, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, it can make it there. However, a bike can't because of all this terrain. The beaches slow down bikes, the wasteland slows down bikes. However, an infantry from here, if you load Lee into it turn 1, can reach there. And if there are more opportunities like that closer to the front line, then you can actually speed up your capture phase, and Lee is very useful for that. But boy oh boy, this was quite a replay. Just non-stop action the whole time, always something for me to talk about. But Mib did come out on top, which is not surprising considering he's the one who sent me this replay. Yes, it's fine. You guys can send me replays even if they're just stroking your ego, okay? I'll cast them if they're a good game. If they're good games, I'll cast them, okay? I want more replays. Send them to me. You can even leave them in the comments down below, and I'll take a look at them. All you need to do is send me the replay number, which to do that, replay list. This one was 17765. That's how you find it in the replay list, and then I can just go into the search function and find it like that. That's how I found Mibs. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been my first replay commentary in quite a while. Not my first ever, absolutely not. But I hope to make some more of these. You guys, thank you ever so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe before you go for some more Tiny Wars action. But until next time, goodbye everyone. It's nighttime.